You know what amazes me sometimes? What's that, Joe? The fact that you wore that damn camo shirt for 2 days in a row? No, not at all. What amazes me is that there's a number of people who just don't like freedom. They just don't like freedom. And then they go and get power through government positions and use their moronic thoughts to make the rest of us not have those freedoms that we enjoy so much and are protected allegedly by our different constitutions across the planet, different countries. And I'm reading this article from sovereignman.com. 5 years in prison for offending someone online. Online. Let the weekly absurdity begin. New SAT scoring will combat Asian privilege. The infamous SAT has been used since 1926. He covers a few things. As a sort of university entrance exam to objectively test high school students' scholastic aptitude until now. Test administrators announced plans this week to include an adversity score for every student taking the SAT. Again, this is everybody, you participated, you get a trophy, but we worked hard, we studied hard, we came up with a better game plan than the other team and we beat them. We were the underdog. Don't we get a trophy and they don't? No. Everybody gets a trophy. Well, then why should we try so hard to win next time? Why should we work harder and practice longer if we're all getting a trophy for this? Just participate. I don't want to participate. I'm going to win. I want to be with winners. I want a steak in a room. Not tofu and some salad. I want a steak in a room. The score will excuse poor test results if the student lives in a high crime neighborhood, went to a poor high school, is living in a single parent or low income household, and so on. And this really should really put a dent in Asian privilege. Yes, you read that right. With an average SAT score of 1223, Asians achieve the highest marks among all the ethnic groups tracked by SAT administrators. But these same Asian test takers also typically come from dual parent, higher income households, so they'll be penalized because of their parents' success. This is truly amazing thing to be teaching young people. Universities and the SAT administrators don't want high school students to identify as strong, self-reliant, independent individuals who seek to solve problems and overcome adversity. Instead, they're encouraging young people to make their socioeconomic circumstances the strongest part of their identities, and based on those socioeconomic circumstances, cultivate a guilt or victim mentality and expect penalties or handouts for the rest of their lives. Next subject. Harvard lynch mob runs professor off campus. Harvard professor Ronald Sullivan has spent his career as a lawyer defending some of the poorest people in the country. He was previously the public defender in Washington, D.C. and personally overturned dozens of wrongful convictions. Sounds like a great guy to me. Professor Sullivan also represented Michael Brown's family after the teen was shot to death by police. Huffington Post even called him the man who dealt the biggest blow to mass incarceration. But now he and his wife, the first black student housing deans in Harvard history, have been run off campus by an angry mob of #MeToo zealots. His crime? Joining Harvey Weinstein's defense team. Now, granted, that Harvey Weinstein? Hollywood, pay-to-play, sexual pay-to-play? Yeah. Okay, I understand. I could say, whoa, dude, if you're helping people overturn wrong convictions, you sure you want to represent that guy? I get it, but again, free country, innocent until proven guilty, defense team. If Weinstein's guilty, he's guilty. Whether this guy joins or not. Maybe Weinstein paid him big money because he's a great defense attorney. Me personally, Weinstein, my name's Joe, I'm with Realist News, and I've done a lot of studying over the years, and I know how Hollywood is. You're guilty as F. You are guilty as F. And I know you're paying me a lot of money to defend you, but I don't think I'm going to do that. But having said that, someone can choose to represent someone if they want to. Sullivan believes in justice for all, and that even a man like Weinstein, who has already been convicted of by the Twittering classes anyways, in the court of public opinion, is entitled to competent legal defense. Quote, it is particularly important for this category of unpopular defendant to receive the same process as everyone else, perhaps even more important, to the degree we deny unpopular defendants basic due process rights, we cease to be the country we imagine ourselves to be. Again, sure. And I got to go here, even though to me, the court of public opinion, yeah, we're all on that page with Harvey Weinstein. But is it possible? Is it possible, because the guy had so much money, hashtag me too, let's get him, guys. Go after all these rich white men, you know, Hollywood moguls, and we'll all gang up on them and win lawsuits and stuff. I mean, is that possible? Absolutely. Do I think that's what happened here? Again, I can only go off the news that I've gathered, and I'm not talking even mainstream news. Just he said, she said, sounds like the guy's guilty, but again, we saw them try that with Donald Trump in Judge Kavanaugh. Blasé Ford. I don't know what the hell is that thing called? GoFundMe. Somebody set up a GoFundMe to help you earn money for donations. I don't know what that is. Do you recall it was Kavanaugh? Yeah, it was Kavanaugh and another guy. Yeah. Yeah, she was like this fake little pouting girl without any real tears. Yeah, I don't remember. Yes. Remember that girl? She made a claim, completely false. And a whole bunch of hashtag Me Too people came out. So, we have to be fair when we, at Realist News, and by we, it's just me. I'm one show, one trick pony over here. So anyways, the guy, Sullivan believed justice for all. I know the allegations are not looking good for the guy, but again, right now we just have the court of public opinion burying him. Let's see if there's anything here. I'll try to defend him with what we know. Give the guy a fair shot at freedom, at the Constitution, the rights we get from the Constitution. Due process, right? Look, and I'm going to say he probably did it, but I technically, do we really know? No. But boy, was it not looking good for that guy. Geez. But again, he still has the same rights. Is he an American? Give him the same rights we all have. Let him find a lawyer. Let him go to court. Let him go to trial. See what happens. The judge may throw 2 books at him. Holy crap, you're guilty. But he still deserves those rights. That doesn't give somebody else the right to... They're not running him off the campus. They're running the lawyer off the campus. That's what he does for a living. He's a lawyer. Why are you running him off the campus? Let him... Again, if this guy is guilty, he's going to be freaking guilty. You can get the best defense attorney on the face of the earth. The guy's guilty, he's freaking guilty. Unless there's a freaking cover-up going on. Anyways, next story. Prison for online trolls. This is the big one I was going to talk about. Prison for online trolls in Australia. Now let that be a lesson to all you trolls on my YouTube channel that always constantly putting thumbs down, negative comments for no reason, just any reason. I still champion for your rights to say what you want to say. Joe, F off. You're an idiot. Joe, go ahead. But in Australia, they look like they may not be allowed to do that here shortly. Oh, our Constitution used to let that. Not anymore, because we got these effing liberal Democrats in charge. Like I said, you put a liberal in charge, and they'll run your business or government into the ground and destroy your rights along the way. And I've proven this a million times now, doing these videos all these years. So, quick look surprised. Online trolls could soon face up to 5 years in prison if the Prime Minister of Australia gets his way. It's already illegal to, quote, menace, harass, or cause offense online in Australia. That's right, it's illegal to offend someone in Australia. And that cybercrime carries up to 3 years in prison if reasonable persons would consider the online behavior offensive or menacing. Well, who are reasonable persons? More liberal leftists or the rest of us? Right? See how they write these laws and stuff? They make it to where you can interpret it how it needs to be interpreted by them when they need it interpreted that way. But the Prime Minister wants a stiffer penalty for up to 5 years for offending someone else's delicate feelings. As usual, the government keeps their laws nice and obscure so that they can make the case that practically anyone has broken them. That's what I was just saying. I haven't even read this yet, by the way. You get used to understanding what's going to probably be said next because I study this stuff so much. Yeah, sure enough. As usual, the government keeps their laws nice and obscure so that they can kind of say what they think it means because they were never specific when they created the law, which they should have been. You know, one of my favorite ones to include in any law is other. And other reasons the secretary seems fit. Other? I just having a bad day. So today he feels that, you're going to be incarcerated for the other reason today. And then this one in Florida. This one kind of pissed me off recently. I didn't do a video on it, but I heard about it. Charges dropped, thank God, against Florida man with, quote, "I eat ass" bumper sticker. Now, as you know, an ass is a donkey. And even if it wasn't the one he was referring to, you got a right to say what you want to say. Free speech. Protected rights. Speaking of offending people, last week a sheriff's deputy in Florida arrested a man because he had a bumper sticker which eloquently read, "I eat ass." I almost have to admire the transparency. This man leaves no question about where he stands on the issue. The officer pulled the man over because of the obscene sticker and insisted he removes all or part of it. But the man refused, citing his First Amendment free speech right to display potentially offensive bumper stickers. Again, I don't care if he had a bumper sticker on something that I absolutely love. Like I could say on my bumper sticker, "I love Evelyn." And I could even have another bumper sticker next to it that says, "Evelyn, time stands still when I'm with you." I could have that on there as a separate long bumper sticker. And somebody may have a bumper sticker that says on their car, "I hate Joe's" bumper sticker about his damn wife. Just like that, his damn wife. And I'll see that, and while I say, "Hey, I don't appreciate that," I still respect your right to say whatever you want to say. Because as long as you have that right to do that, so do I, so does my family, so do future generations. And that's extremely important, to be able to say whatever you want to say and legally be okay with it. Never ever, "Oh, well, that's bullying," YouTube, that's bullying and harassment. No, I just said that I read an article and this scientist and a doctor both agreed that they said you can only be male or female, two genders. That's it. But I was just saying that they said that. I didn't say it. I don't even believe that. As a matter of fact, I believe everyone has a right to choose anything. You can choose your gender. You can choose your being. You don't like being a human being, you're now a dog. Elephant. My wife loves baby elephants. Ask her, Evelyn, do you like baby elephants?
Yeah, and sloths.
Oh, and sloths. You hear that? She's under the pillow and in her sleeping position. She likes elephants and sloths. But somebody may find that offensive in Australia. And the court happens to pick a jury of reasonable persons that also agree, "We don't like sloths and elephants. You've officially offended this person," they win the lawsuit. "And you're going to jail for 5 years." So anyways, the officer charged him with violating obscenity laws, as well as resisting arrest without violence. The prosecutors determined bringing a case against him would be met with a valid First Amendment defense, so the charges were dropped. And he's got links to a lot of these mini stories, if you will. San Francisco chasing away tech companies with IPO tax hike. Again, liberal run, as I've said, liberal run San Francisco with poop on the ground everywhere, bloody needles from people shooting up that the city gives out for free because we don't want them passing needles around to each other, infectious diseases. So we just give them the needles, and now we have a massive drug problem. You know what? I'm going to try to get rid of rats, guys. I got a rat problem outside, and I'm going to put a lot of food outside. Let it rot, stink up the place. What's the rat? Cheese? I'm going to throw a bunch of cheese outside. Rats love cheese. So they say anyways. And I'm going to get rid of these rats so they're not coming around my house and scrounging for stuff. I'm just going to give it to them so they can go ahead and take it and leave. How do you think that's going to work out for me? I'm going to get infested with rats. And that's why San Francisco is infested with drug users. And thus the needle problem and the pooping and peeing all over the streets. They got poop patrol. I've done videos on this. If you've seen poop or feces, call the toll-free number. You have a toll-free number for poop on the ground? Human waste? Yeah, call up. We'll be there. Rapid response team will be there soon. Holy crap! These liberals, get rid of them. San Francisco has long had what they refer to as an IPO tax. This is a tax on the value of shares that companies give to their employees. And the tax is on the value of the shares itself. So when a big company goes public and all those employees' shares are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, the city of San Francisco rakes in the tax revenue. 10 years ago, during the last recession, San Francisco cut its IPO tax. There was a bit of revolt by some local tech firms who threatened to leave the city over the tax, and San Francisco wanted to prevent this exodus at all costs. But not anymore. Now the local government intends to raise the tax from 0.38% to 1.5%, which is a 4 times increase of what it was. This is pretty hilarious given that they slashed the tax a decade ago to tempt companies to stay. But now that it's cool and trendy to chase productive businesses away, San Francisco wants to jack up the IPO tax. This is in addition to new taxes passed in November on large corporations to support the homeless population. Oh, and the needles. You got to support if you're not just the homeless, but the needles, because a lot of the homeless, not all, but a lot of them. Look at the statistics, by the way, they're public. A lot of the homeless, heavy duty on drugs. It is the go-to state for drugs. I was watching a little documentary a little while back. Big Swear, I think, saw it too. We both chatted independently about it. And a guy goes around and I don't know if was it San Francisco or Portland. I think it was San Francisco. Not that there's too awfully much different happening, by the way, if you're studying those two places. And he just says, what they're doing, that the cops can't even arrest. They arrest them, and then they're out. Like the city, cops have quit. And the guy that was talking may have been a retired police officer, if I recall. But he's like, our hands are tied. We can't even do our job here. So people are getting broken into, thieves, everything. They're coming here because I know we won't do anything about it. What's the solution? Get rid of the liberal politicians and their sick, wackadoodle policies. It's pretty darn simple. But what if people who are running for office in these areas, like San Francisco, by chance, the only choice you get from all the wonderful political candidates are effing liberal wackadoodles? Then what? Who are you going to vote for? I think it's time for mass exodus out of there. Like I've been telling you for the last few years, get the F out of California. Get out of there. What are you doing? It ain't getting better. It will get worse. Far worse before it gets better. Oh, my house is worth, I live in a 500-foot shack, Jason, it's worth $750,000. You kidding me? You sell that son of a gun immediately. And you take those proceeds and you move to a cheaper state, you buy your house cash, you now are living in a house for free, and you go get a little rinky-dink job to just barely pay your bills and go live a wonderful, peaceful, easy life. Instead of stressing, how am I going to, my rent, oh my gosh, my rent, $750,000, City of San Francisco, boy, soaking it up. They still need more. Ain't enough. We need to tax your IPOs and your shares and stocks. We got to tax it all. Get the hell out of there. I love you. That's why I tell you these things. Take care.